Hello, welcome back to Blender Live. In this episode, we're gonna take a look at Renderman 25 inside Blender. So I managed to run it on my computer Mac M2. I thought it would be easy, but I will tell you the whole things. But basically, the other day I went to the session at SIGGRAPH Asia, and it was session by Renderman Pixar guy Dylan Sisson. So it's about Renderman 25 and Renderman Challenge. The last one was Lost Things Art, and these are the winners. Um, you can see you can actually get really inspired if you know the whole story and the whole process of how an artist create a render, right? So I actually really like the idea of just putting the assets, putting the camera and lights and do a render, and it has to look nice. And computer graphics, everything is of course created inside computers. And nowadays, I mean, it's going towards like everything is going to be rendered inside a game engine. But Pixar Renderman, of course, it's something that's rendered. It's not like real time, but you can do a little bit more, just adding polish and layered. And it's I think it's quite beautiful to see the render coming out from shader. It's a little bit harder than maybe just in video game assets. Everything is already real time. There's a whole process anyway to create, to prepare assets and then to do the compositions, all the stuff. uh, I like it, but Dylan Sisson from Pixar uh, tell the story of how he would actually do this Renderman challenge. This one is about lost things, and he talk about how in order to win, you focus on the narrative, story, and technical texture shading, lighting, rendering. So, and you just need to make a single render. So, right, as a 3D nerd, as someone who likes to render things in computer, I think Renderman, of course, is one of the best renderer out there, and they of course make it accessible. In the recent years, you can run Renderman on your computer. You probably need NVIDIA computer to render it faster with XPU, but on a Mac you can actually run it as well. I will show you in a bit. Actually, I'll turn on render first. I'll just run render. So there's a lot of version of Blender. You need to actually have the Blender Intel, and it's gonna run under Rosetta on the Mac OS. But you need this in order to run the add-on. Don't use Blender 36. Don't use the one for MPS. Don't use the one for use the one for Intel, and it's gonna run under Rosetta under Mac. So it's a little bit strange that you have to do that, but it will actually run this way. So Renderman for Blender, Renderman 25 integration, so we can run this. So I already installed the whole, there's Renderman already installed in the background, so Blender add-on will just pull it out. So let's save this very quickly. Renderman 25 test. So normally, of course, if I am doing lots of render, I will be using, materials from Sanctus, just a small library of materials, but I think it's quite beautiful, and the shader can be complicated to create. Sometimes you just need a library preset, so it's okay to start with the Renderman one, I think, and then just tweak it and then modify the text, the materials and stuff. If you don't have anything in the scene, just use cube and then draw some random stuff. Put some, it's better to have some assets. This one is of course like an abstract 3D, right? People like doing abstract things sometimes, but sometimes in order to tell a story, you need to have proper assets. Anyway, the idea is to render your dreams, right? Your story narrative. If this is about, what is it, the last dream, or I don't know, you think of some kind of narrative. This one's just random stuff. So we have random stuff here. we can also draw some sphere in case I forgot. I don't like the way it draws sphere that like that. Anyway, I'll do that later. Save. Shift A, create camera. So far, view, align active camera to view. I'm just gonna render this 1080. Oops. 1080, but 1080. And this renderer is gonna be Renderman. Okay, I think you can right click and also right click, use Renderman. It's gonna switch to Renderman. Okay, that's first. We have a camera and we can switch the camera to view, so we can rotate around while inside the camera. Okay, so that's first. If we feel it's a little bit too empty, you can put Susan head or maybe what this is, extra objects, teapot, yeah, like Renderman teapot or some sort. Okay, this one we can put it in the collection. Get tidy. Teapot. This teapot. Okay, let's just place this randomly. Some kind of multi-verse teapot. It's okay. It's kind of like a nightmare kind of dream anyway. So, of course, in order to make this more interesting, I mean, you can also, you know, rotate the box and then you make it more messy, so it's not just, yeah. Anyhow, yeah, I want to add things like monsters, you know, like maybe like cables. I don't know. It's something. Right. So we have this. Or what happens if we hit render? It will crash. Render in the viewport. So as usual, you can just hit render from here. Render image. Probably. Oh yeah, this is the menu I want. Render or render animations, or usually it will render to RES, or like there's gonna be like a pop-up option if I hit render anyway. So it's gonna try to do render, but usually if you want to test it, so it's gonna do a render. It's really flat at the moment. There is no material, right? So don't do that. A better way is to run this viewport shading, I guess. So now it's rendering using RES. I think it's not using XPU because XPU doesn't work in this non-commercial version of Blender. Yeah, during this mode I realized, so this is like interactive renderer, IPR. We can use Pixar occlusion, which will give us this look. So ambient occlusion. Okay, so you can tell, and you can actually rotate around. You can see the ambient occlusions. Very basic. At the moment there is nothing. Let's just stop this for now. What do we forget? Okay, what do we forget? Oh, this is Dylan Sisson. Before I forgot, yeah, Dylan Sisson, the presenter from Pixar, and he talked about how he likes to draw inside a cafe, inside a restaurant sometimes on the menu, draw this little monster. Of course, he's an artist himself, and it's kind of interesting idea. So first of all, so in order for you, you know, like to be independent artist, not really, I mean, you don't always need to work for other people or a company. Become an artist first, and you will always need to survive as an artist yourself first before you work for other, I think. So yeah, drawing monster is his passion, and it's super interesting. He has a Facebook page, Dylan Sisson Artist. So for his render of a dream, or actually no, the last things from Pixar, you can grab assets from Pixar and then put your own idea and story. If this is like a last dream, you want to draw monsters or render monster from your dream, you can start with sketches, and then sketches. Dylan actually show us like he used AI as well to help with the ideas to create monster of his imagination with the prompting, etc. Because it's for yourself anyway. You want to render, you want to have some kind of image dreams that you want to create. So it doesn't matter. It's not really commercial, and what we are rendering is not commercial anyway. And we can, the benefit is to learn this tool, powerful render tools, and you can render something really beautifully. It's probably old school, and I mean, you probably need to pay for the Renderman, but this is non-commercial. If you have a job or project, you're gonna get paid anyway. You can then buy the license. Anyhow, so before I forgot, I just want to say that I think there's a lot I want to talk about sometimes, but the idea is to get a render for now. Let's put a light and a bunch of materials. Okay, this one intersecting. R, Y, so this is R, Y, smaller. See? Quite a diverse teapot. R, X, yeah, see? Because I'm looking at the axis and then the rotating stuff, so it's a little bit more interesting now. It's not nothing particularly interesting. So we need a light, we need material, and then we're gonna hit render again. So this guy, material, convert, material, preset. Okay, this is what I like, presets. So it comes with presets, so it's really powerful. The rest of them, there's a few things I haven't done, but we can apply the material, start from scratch ourselves using Pixar or Disney material. But presets, just put a random material. So at the moment there is no preview or whatsoever. Yeah, even in this mode. Okay, now yeah, at least we got the material. Let's stop that again. This thing, okay. Under Renderman there is a convert to sub D. So our object still, it's not unsmoothed, but if we convert it to sub D and re-render, it's gonna be smooth. This is what I like about Renderman sub D. And so we just need to put more material, but I think the way to do it correctly is to this panel. This panel actually gives you a lot. It's kind of nice. So we can add light, Pixar light, and we can, I believe there's also presets for light. So we also need that sometimes just to start. So Rembrandt, 90-degree 3-point, let's just do the 3 points. I think I've done this in the past, I can't remember, but anyway, I just imported the light. Now we should have Pixar light set up in 3 different positions, 3-point lighting, classic, basic, hit render again. Should be a little bit better. We have the lighting, you know. Maybe the sun is not needed. So delete the sun, 3-point light. Okay, a little bit better. I'm actually pretty happy that it runs under Rosetta and it's rendering. So Blender run under Rosetta and then send it to Renderman to do the render. So that's kind of nice. Okay. For these objects, I want maybe this easy. I select this box as well. Right click, Renderman, convert to sub D. Okay. If you render, oh, I keep hitting that guy. I think maybe. Okay. Cool. For the wood, it's okay to be faceted like this, but the rest of them is cool. So it's pretty fast as well, running on M2 64 GB. But I think for indie anime, you can go 64 gigabyte of RAM, CPU, GPU, maybe not enough, maybe 128. Oh no, the one my computer, the one I'm running is only 32 gigabyte. I should go higher. I should invest like 6,000, 8,000 Mac, um, Mac Ultra or something. That's probably better for indie artists. It's gonna last longer. But this can work as well. 32 gigabyte running Renderman. It seems to render pretty okay, pretty fast. What else I'm gonna try? Okay, preset browser. If we select this box, this is a better way, I guess, to assign material because we can see it faster. Okay, let's just. Should we try every single one of this? I don't know. Let's try the oak on that guy. Import and assign to select it. I should add this as quick favorite. I don't know. But since the nice thing about this, we are in this view. Let's, yeah. Let's do it this way. Oh man. I have a feeling I need to. This one needs to hang around. Unfortunately, the way it's designed is like this. I wonder if I can drag and drop it or something. Oh man. Whenever I select something, this menu disappears again. Anyway, let's hit render. So this one with sub-D, the box becoming like a sphere, right? So that's interesting. But I like it. I like the result anyway. So let's make something really simple. For the rest of the box, I want to make just a colorful random box. I will just add a new material, maybe simple one, Pixar surface or Pixar Disney BSDF. Okay, let's do this. Pixar Disney BSDF. By default, it's gonna be gray. Okay, cool. Shader editor. Okay, this is Pixar Disney BSDF. The menu is so big. This is the panel. You can control Shift A. So there's gonna be a lot of nodes and a lot of control over the image. It could be daunting, really, but this is where the fun begins. Maybe you are given the tools, really professional tools, I guess. It gets really complex. I mean, if you are really working for big company, then you might get Renderman, and then you will be using Renderman. And yeah, since you have access to it, then you also you get a taste of it in a way. But if you're gonna be indie artist, you're gonna be working by yourself, and then you have to know everything basically, unless you're working in a team, which is a little bit nicer sometimes. But sometimes you get fired from your job as well, or you just work. You're disposable. Work once and then they fire you. It's okay. You're back into a single artist. So that's okay. It happens. Doesn't mean your dream is over, right? As an artist, you might get crazy at some point, but just keep going. So import and assign to selected. So this is the whole process. I mean, at the very basic, really, I shouldn't stop here because I like the idea of making like a character monster. I think the idea is always to have a character in your scenes at some sort. Even this squid coming out of ink, this is really interesting, like a story, right? This is from Dylan Sisson. So I really like the idea from Dylan. So all of this you can see the result from students or the artists, other artists, to create something out of certain assets and the scenes with the lighting, the story. Yeah, it's beautiful. Anyway, you have to make a beautiful frame, and then you at some point you have to animate it if you want to do any add sounds or whatever. So it's not if you're leaving everything to the AI, then it's different. I mean, the AI might give you something beautiful to look at, but this old school, it's becoming like a traditional way to do things, because if you can just type and prompt, okay, let's say at this point, okay, it creates something. This is a bunch of teapot inside a room, for example, and you want to have some idea anyway. You're kind of curious. Bunch of random teapots on boxes, on Christmas boxes. Bunch of random teapots with legs on Christmas boxes, stack inside abandoned room. I think the AI might not be happy with me having random teapots with legs. I could say random robot teapot with legs, but yeah, the teapots also, the walking teapots. Walking teapots. SIGGRAPH 2023 Walking Teapots Museum. Oh yeah, beautiful. I have actually a few of them from another nice Pixar guy who gave me this one, the green one, my favorite. Also, there's also the transparent one. Pretty cool. That's Dylan Sisson again, the designer of every year of the teapot. He designed it, I think. Okay, bunch of teapots inside an abandoned room. This make a story, right? Almost make a story, but a bunch of China teapots on top of box. You can see from this, it's beautiful render compared to what you have, which is the one I have. Abstract looking, still a little bit boring. Actually, really boring, but you get the idea. This to that, these assets. You now you might need to make like random ruins. These boxes also old boxes, shoe boxes, different size. Teapots still a little bit bored. This one have a bit of character. The teapots have shoes on this one. Okay, nice. The box have legs. So this AI, of course, is just mashing all sort of thing. But you get the idea. So from this to that, to be honest, I mean, you can render a basic one even. You can render a basic one and then send it to AI. It's gonna create something out of it. Not recommended, but you can. What else I want to talk about in this one? Preset browser. Anyway, just give more material. It comes with enough presets to play with. You can spend hours just doing render. It's common things because the render is so beautiful. Back in the day, actually, if you're doing like a what else is interesting from SIGGRAPH, demo scene, the shader, making a shader. If you probably have passion with shader making, Material Makers actually is pretty good. If indie artist, Material Maker is actually more for game engine. I guess everything is going for game engine probably, but rendering locally, like using Renderman or cycles, or using like render farm, that's becoming like traditional. Have a 3D scenes and then render it this way, still by still, yeah, like a still image, becoming traditional, almost like going out with a camera and take a street photography, maybe with your choice of film camera or digital camera. Even digital camera is becoming traditional now. I still think it's kind of nice. You can have character animating as well, but here if you want to do a proper, then you work with the lighting more and maybe add volumetric. Maybe there are some other technical stuff that you can add to this to make a render more interesting, right? Like, you shouldn't be beaten by AI. You should do more. You can do better than AI because you can tell story. I think that's the creative part. So you can add a monster, a big monster sitting on floor, surrounded by a bunch of random teapots and boxes. So Blender is famous with the box, but also don't forget we get a Suzanne. So Suzanne, monkey head. In order to put Suzanne on the floor, do it this way, and then, okay, I forgot, rotate whatever you like. So I'm using RR, yeah, that way. Monster Suzanne. So right click, Renderman, convert to subdiv, assign it a funky material. Oh man, where is the browser? Preset browser. We need button to go there. What's a good color for Suzanne? Skin. Import and assign. Okay. Suzanne might be outside of the camera. See, not the fastest renderer, and we haven't used light. There, I don't know. There's a noise. It's okay. Monster. It looks like Pixar monster, probably inspired by Pixar. But the way the monster being posed in the room, that's also something you can decide if you have the 3D character. My process, of course, if I really want to do it, of course, let's stop this. So I will do a sketch. Now we get some kind of ideas. We haven't even started, right? We get some ideas. You can actually you can prompt more and get ideas from AI or something, but you want to sketch some ideas for the monster itself, and then collect some materials. And let's imagine you have all the materials for your creation. Anyway, you can get material from Sketchfab. I don't know, grab the 3D models you want, or you build it from scratch, or model it using VR, or model it using something like Nomad Sculpt or inside Blender. If it's like a machinery object, you can use plasticity. That's my recommendations. Nomad Sculpt. If you do painting even with Procreate, that will work too. If you don't have Substance Designer, you paint everything. That will work. Substance. I saw Substance. Adobe owns Substance Designer and Substance Painter. It's really powerful tools. If you don't have that, you can always use Blender. Not Blender, maybe Procreate. A little bit strange to work with Procreate. Maybe not as good as Substance in terms of complexity and what you can do with it, but it's pretty good. And you can get a decent monster. I actually want to make some kind of character, but not doing it today because I just want to demonstrate this Pixar stuff. So the material you created from preset browser, will be complicated, complex, but you can study these. The nodes can be really big. Each one of them have some kind of brutal complexity sometimes. The Disney Pixar one is actually decent. Okay, the Disney Pixar one is this the tile oak wood, but Disney Pixar one, the one you created yourself with Pixar Vary, is varying color, saturations. You can actually, of course, you can vary the metallic and the roughness, you know, as usual, and it's gonna look a little bit more interesting if you have a HDR like that. I didn't set up. Did I create the dome? I didn't. Shift light. Pixar Environment Day. That's what I forgot. Pixar Dome Light Environment Day, daytime. It's gonna be maybe better looking with the dome. Yeah, a little bit brighter because we have environment, Pixar environment. Where's the setting for this? I think with Pixar Renderman, you have also control with the camera and how you can set like depth of field, sky tint. So we don't get the sky. Oh yeah, we get a bit of gradient. So I think this is a start. Anyway, it's not perfect, but it's a good start. I don't know what's going on with that. Could be a bug, you know. Sometimes I don't. It's the thing that's annoying me sometimes. Anyhow, this guy should be subdiff. Sometimes you need to troubleshoot the render, but that's also part of it. Yeah, now it's after subdivided. After subdivision, that's disappear. And you can play around with the material, spend like hours and hours just in the past used to be slower and takes more time. Yeah, okay, it's a little bit better. It's not the best render, but it's almost like you know, in a few 20 years ago or 15 years ago, in order to run this on Maya on my computer, like local computer, it's 100 times harder. It's just easier now, and the shader also, the tools are more accessible, I think, for indie artists. So you have powerful renderer like Renderman or cycles from Blender that's also free. But in the end, you really want to make a beautiful picture, right? Not by AI. You can recreate this, but you get the idea. The boxes, you might need to have boxes assets and some bunch of teapots with different texture, a character in post like that, you know, like character with expression, just to tell story, because this feels better than what we have here, of course, just abstract. You can send this to AI, however, and it's gonna create something just for an idea and make 100 variations, and you look at it, and based on that idea, you can do more. So maybe I do that in the next video if you really want to do it anyway with the help of AI. But if you can have something better, like better ideas, so that's even highly recommended. So yeah, that's basically what I want to share. Is going full AI is something, being have a bit of more of your input is another thing. So that's this is just a quick demo of Renderman 25. working with a Mac computer, so you need to run it through Rosetta, run the Blender Intel, and everything's gonna work. Yeah, it's a good time. It's really a perfect, even though we go through like crazy time, 2020 and until today. But today, if you have computer with maybe NVIDIA graphic card, I don't know. I'm using Mac, so I like using Mac with M2. It's gonna render Renderman, so it's just important. You can always use Blender cycles anyway, but the idea is still there. Like I wanna follow his path. I think he did quite well, and I think so. Dylan Sisson, sounds very familiar, the name. Artist. His works with the t-shirt. So I think you need to be a good artist first. That's the idea. Make a character. That's what I really like as well. So I wanna follow this path. Even this, ink, black doodles. I mean, I like to doing doodles, as you might already know. Doodles on paper, even without color, with just some highlight, which is nice. And the 3D from this sketch cartoon into 3D. That's always like something that I like to do. Like I'm not maybe good at some things, not always good at other things. I tend to want to do everything myself. I want being a 3D artist is always a bit technical. Digital artist nowadays, you can use AI as well as your partner in a way, but like to get that idea, like this idea, maybe a tiny monster. Look, let's do this. Bokeh, tiny. Instead of monster, I tend to use robot. I should have used robot. Made of rubbish. So monster, Pixar do monster. If I make my own Pixar, I'll do robots, lots of robots. So it's gonna be, if we do robots, it's gonna be connected also to my fascination with anime robots. Dream Machine anime. Dreaming Machine, Satoshi Kon. Believe it or not, this anime might be created at some point. I don't know. Someone will have to make it. So robots. This is the classic robots, of course. Just basic robots. I like this robot. This is from Apple Emoji, I believe. Anyway, robots, boxes, teapots, Christmas tree as a bonus. Look at the scene and then try to recreate it using Renderman. Even though it could be like a boring render, but it's really something you created yourself. From this basic to something that looks like that. So try to do that. It's a challenge. All right, so thanks again for tuning in. Hopefully you find this useful, and I'll see you next time in the next video. Bye.